so weird. Why did they make this? Today, I'm going to be solving the Puzz3D Monopoly puzzle. How do you make Monopoly 3D? That's what we're gonna find out. So this came out in 1998, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that my sister Katie collects Puzz3Ds. She mostly does the architecture ones, but I like to research puzzles, and I also like to give these to her as gifts. So I have spent a lot of time looking at all of the different Puzz3Ds that are out there, and I think this is the weirdest and most random one. So of course I had to do it here on the channel. So luckily, these are not very rare. I easily found one on eBay that is still sealed, so we can get the full experience. So let's take a look. Apparently, this is average difficulty, and it's 755 pieces. And they specifically say that it comes with everything that you need to play. So it looks like the main piece is the game board, which is actually mostly flat, except for this raised square here in the middle, which personally is not quite as 3D as I would like my 3D puzzles to be. But then we also have these smaller structures, like this one to hold the money. We have these chests for the chance cards, I think. For jail, we have a whole jail cell here. Oh, and if you can see, I think that's a house-shaped holder to hold all of the houses and hotels. But then the game pieces and the cards and the money look like they're just the regular Monopoly pieces. So here I'm just gonna show you what all of the sides look like. You can see a nice shot there of the whole thing set up. Here's all of the info, including the dimensions, and we can see it says 1998 right there. And then here on the back, we can see exactly what we're getting. So we have the board, like I said, and then all of these other pieces, which I'm gonna go through in more detail as I solve the puzzle. So we have a big bag of pieces. We have, this has an FAQ about how to play Monopoly. Okay, I'll look at that later. Ooh, and then, okay, inside we have all of the non-puzzle game pieces. So again, I'll go through all of this later. Then we have the instructions and the build instructions. And then we have some cardboard supports, not very many of them, just this one sheet. Oh wow, a lot of these are already connected. They didn't actually break them up very well, so I'll have to take all of those apart. Oh my gosh, it's like an actual finished puzzle in here. This is wild. Okay, I'm gonna take every single one of these pieces apart. Oh, what's that? Oh no. Look, this piece must have come off of the foam. I can feel that it's still sticky. It's like the sticker. And then it ended up connected to this piece. So do I just have a blank foam piece somewhere that I'll need to attach this to? I'll just put this off to the side for now. Oh man, that took me exactly 10 minutes to the second just to separate all of the pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and reset that because this doesn't count towards my solve time. This was the opposite of solving. This was taking apart. All right, back to zero. So this video has me thinking a lot about board games, and I really hope that there is a lively debate going on down in the comments about whether Monopoly is a good board game or not. I know that a lot of people have very strong opinions one way or the other, but if you're on the side where you think it's not a good board game, and you think you could design a better one, there is a whole class on Skillshare about the fundamentals of game design. So today's video is sponsored by Skillshare, and if you have some free time this summer, I think designing your own board game would be a really fun project to take on. You know, there's so many different skills that go into it, coming up with the concept, the gameplay, the rules, and then the graphic design, the manufacturing, the printing. Every single one of those are skills that you can learn on Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes across art, design, video making, entrepreneurship, animation. The list goes on and on and on. I really love to feature companies who really value and promote learning. And if you're into puzzles, I bet you also like to learn. So this summer is a great time to pick an interest of yours and really dive into it. I keep seeing this tweet reposted over and over and over again, and it is so true. The time is gonna pass anyway, so you might as well do something productive with it. So if you want to try Skillshare for yourself, the first 500 people to use my link down in the description are going to get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Oh man, even though it's only 750 pieces, it's actually a little overwhelming just because the pieces themselves are so big and thick that it takes up quite a lot of table space. Oh, also, I did find my blank piece, so this is gonna have to go back on there. And I also found 2 other pieces where the sticker got a little askew, so I'll have to fix those before I connect them. Alright, so I'm 44 minutes in, and I'm sure some of you are wondering, this part is not that hard. Why is she taking so long? Well, something that I learned from my sister that she started doing is a way to add an extra puzzle to a Puzz3D, and that is to try to reassemble the flat sheet, including all of the red dot pieces. In the instructions, they tell you to discard the red dots because they're not used in the final 3D build. But before you actually build the 3D puzzle, you can take these red dot pieces and reassemble the flat sheet of how they printed them. So that's what I've been working on. Guys, it has been so long since I've played Monopoly. In fact, I can tell you exactly when was the last time that I played Monopoly. It was in 2010 when I went and hung out with a bunch of YouTubers for a weekend. If you recognize multiple people in these photos, then you're old now. I'm sorry, but it's true. I don't make the rules. You're old. You just are. Anyway, we did play Monopoly that weekend. I lost very badly, and that was in 2010, so that was 14 years ago. So now, in 2024, I'm over here like, what order do the colors go in? Where do all of these corner pieces go? I truly don't remember. You can see up here, I literally organized all of these prices going from least expensive over to most expensive. So I think the 400 is going to be Boardwalk or Park Place, probably Boardwalk. Yes, okay, so Boardwalk is 400. It also doesn't help that I only pulled out the colorful pieces, and so most of the pieces that I need are actually still in here, so this is going to be the next pile that I tackle. I did grab a tray so that I can move some of these pieces just off the board for now because it's getting a little cramped. I just need a little more space. Oh, and also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the reason why I was trying to remember where everything went is because I'm doing my best not to look at the box. So I'm just leaving it over there and just trying to do this off of context clues on the pieces. Okay, so I only worked on this puzzle for 2.5 hours yesterday, which doesn't actually seem like that much. But here's the thing, you're not really supposed to be able to piece all of this back together like a big jigsaw puzzle, like to make the full flat sheet, including the red dot pieces. And so doing it anyway is very mentally taxing. So I was just so exhausted at the end of yesterday. I went and took a break after getting to this point and just never got back to it. So let me show you what I've done. As you can see, I finished the entire game board, and then I started building out from there with everything else. And so I think it's going to just make one big square in the end. So here you can see what I was talking about, where it all fits back together, and you can use these little clues where they didn't quite cut it on the image line, or where the images kind of bleed into the red dot pieces. You can use that to put it all back in order all together. Also, any of these pieces that have curves on them are much more unique when you're trying to get them in place. So like these were pretty easy as well. But then all of these pieces I think are going to fill in this area. And since they're all just the grid cut, it's been really hard to get these in place. Also, they cut these really well, like right on the image line. So I just don't have a lot of clues right on the edge of the different sections of how they all fit together. Oh, but look at this right here in the middle of the game board. Look at how satisfying that is. So this whole thing is going to pop out and something else will fit in there. But that's where they printed the train pieces. And so it's the same thing up here. It was so satisfying to get that in place. And then I also filled in some of these red dot pieces were still connected to the puzzle pieces, and I didn't disconnect them when I was pulling everything apart, but some of them had come out. So up here you can see all of the extra red dot pieces I've been working with. I just noticed I haven't done these yet, so I'll have to find those among all of these pieces. Oh, I think this might be one. Let's see. Yes. Okay, so there you can see how it really is just a strangely shaped jigsaw puzzle of getting these back in place. So the only sections that I have left are the ones that I put on the tray before. I'm trying really hard not to drop these. So I have all these blue pieces, which are gonna go probably up here. I'm not really sure, actually. And then all of these, which make up the sides of the raised platform. So this is what I'm tackling today. All right, I think that's all I've got for right now. So let's finish it up. Okay, so that was a little tricky, just because everything was all the same color, and I didn't know how many shapes I was making or how big each shape was going to be. But I ended up with this big rectangle. This part up here where the money is going to go, that was pretty easy because there's actually a design on there. But all of this, I was definitely taking it apart and rearranging quite a bit. I'm up to 3 hours and 14 minutes, but all of the jigsaw puzzling is now done. All that's left is to get this attached onto the main piece. However, I do have one concern. It's something that you can't really plan for. I'm pretty sure a lot of this is going to connect on this side of the main piece, and so I think I'm going to have to turn this entire thing so that I'm working out over onto the table this way. Like, I'm pretty sure this side just ends right here, so oh boy. I mean, it was really just random chance which orientation I ended up putting it together. Oh man, this part gave me so much trouble, especially because I had the jigsaw pieces wrong. I had a false fit, so I didn't even have the right length shapes, but I got there in the end. So now all that's left are these pieces, which I know have to fit in here. And this one might be wrong because it's sticking further out than the rest of the shape. Okay, so that took 4 hours and 27 minutes, and I swear, like, 45 minutes of that was just trying to assemble these dice down in the corner. It was so hard. The problem is that there was a red dot piece attached right here to this piece, and I swear it was attached on the foam, not just like by the sticker. I don't know how that got attached there. I ended up just pulling it out and putting this in. So this might not technically be correct, but I just don't know how else they could fit together. I tried so many different ways. So we're just gonna go with it. We're just gonna say that this is correct and we're all gonna move on with our lives. Also, it took me way too long to realize that the numbers would be repeated vertically. But then, once I realized that, I was trying to put the 4s here because the 4s and the 5s are switched. So again, it could be wrong, but we're just gonna go with it. Also, if you look closely, there are a couple little dots that didn't quite make it in. I double checked the bag. They're just not here. I think sometimes all of the red dot pieces just don't make it into the puzzle, because technically you're not even supposed to use them. But it is so satisfying to see how it all slots together into one big rectangle. But honestly, like, these dice, they took everything out of me today. So I'm just gonna leave this for now, and then tomorrow we will have our assembly day. And I'm back. So it's been a little longer than one day since I shot the first part of the video, but we have finally made it to the assembly day. By the end of today, this flat sheet will be a 3D playable game of Monopoly. So the first thing I need to do is to finally follow the directions and remove all of the red dot pieces, finally deconstruct and disassemble our beautiful flat sheet. All right, I'm just looking at it one more time, but I think I'm ready. Now I'm ready. Okay, this time I'm ready. All right, I have all of the red dot pieces back in the original bag, so now we just have all of our actual assembly pieces. This time I actually am going to follow the directions, so let's see what we've got. So first, we just have a little blurb about the game of Monopoly, so feel free to pause if you want to read that whole thing. So next, we just have the general instructions of how to do a Puzz3D. If you've never done one, feel free, again, to pause and read. But then we get the actual instructions for this specific puzzle. So you can see these diagrams that they made showing what you're going to be building. So it looks like the first thing is the game board. So we have the game board, the jail cell, and then, oh, I see. I was wondering where those cardboard supports were going to be. So they're just crossed right in the middle to support the square that goes on top. And then we have all of our little extras are also going to go in. So let's follow along. Let's get this game board together. All right, our cardboard supports are a perfect fit. So the next thing that I'm working on are the chance and community chest containers. I thought it was just gonna be a regular little rectangle container that the cards would go in, but we actually have this kind of diagonal piece in the middle. And the tricky thing with this is since there's no design on the pieces themselves, you have to look really closely at which ones have double rectangles and which ones have squares. So since this is the chance compartment, I'm looking for the one with the rectangle, which is gonna be this one, which means that this one goes with community chest. I've also been grabbing the box and consulting these photos quite a bit because they show it from every angle. So when I was getting these guys in place, I could look at which one went with which side of the board, which made it much easier. And now I'm just looking at this to double check that I'm getting these sections together, right? Oh no, I got this halfway in, but then it felt a little bumpy, and then I realized there are slots that have to come out for those cardboard supports to poke through. All right, we have to go backwards once again. Okay, so we're officially done with all of the puzzling. Everything that's made of puzzle pieces is now put together. The only thing left is this blue box, which has all of the game pieces in it. So we have an FAQ with the actual rules of Monopoly, and then that continues on the bottom. So feel free to pause to read all of that. I know that a lot of people play with house rules, and apparently if you play with the actual official rules, it makes it a better game, but I mean, I wouldn't know. I haven't played in 14 years. So if we open it up, you can see all of the game pieces. So I'll open all of these and get them in place. And then we also have, is this just the rules of Monopoly? Yes, it is. Oh my gosh, there are so many rules. I am not reading all of that. I'm only here to puzzle. I'm not actually here to play Monopoly. That's how you play Monopoly, right?
You just move them around.
I don't know how to play Monopoly.
I know.
Okay, my final thoughts. I actually really liked this puzzle. I mean, yes, there were some quality issues, like so many of the pieces being stuck together right out of the bag, and some of the stickers coming up, and some of the pieces looking like they were a little crunched. But it's just like I said with the Disneyland 4D puzzle. I honestly don't care because the puzzle itself was so fun. It's definitely one of the more colorful Puzz3Ds, especially when you compare it to all of the beige buildings in their architecture series. But also, just back to the quality issues, I do want to remind you that this is from 1998. So you really can't use this to judge every single Puzz3D. And I definitely have not had these issues with most of the Puzz3Ds that I've done. So I was thinking about doing a modern one as well and then comparing them. Let me know if you'd like to see that. So, okay, one of the criticisms that I was going to give is that unlike a regular board game, you can't just fold this up and put it back in the box. But they thought of that, and in the instructions, they give you a diagram for how to take it apart so that you can quickly put it back together in the future. My family has been a big fan of Puzz3D for so many years, and they really are just very well engineered, very well thought out in every single detail. So a few little quirks and details of this design. When you go to jail, you actually drop your piece inside the jail cell, and then there's a little door to go and retrieve it. The game did come with these big dice, and you can use them as dice, but it also came with normal dice. So I don't know, I guess these are just meant to be decorative. I don't know. Maybe they couldn't get the rest of the Monopoly pieces unless it included the dice as well. But one thing that I really don't like is the design for the houses and the hotels, or I should say for the containers that you put them in. I feel like there could have been a more elegant way to get them open and closed. I also do wish there was some purpose to these extra 3D elements. I mean, they're cute and fun, but as far as I can tell, they just sit there and they're not actually used in the game. But, like, that's really it. Otherwise, I think this looks great. Now, unfortunately, I don't think I'll actually be able to play this. Recently, when Drag Race Monopoly came out, I floated the idea to my friends of if they wanted to play, and they were just like, no, we still don't want to play Monopoly. And I was just like, yeah, fair enough. But I do want to give you guys just a little historical context. So this reminded me of the Springbok backgammon puzzle from the 70s. That was part of their Puzzles Plus series, and so the jigsaw puzzle is the backgammon game board, and then it comes with the little tokens to actually be able to play. But that's the only other one that I could think of where you're solving a jigsaw puzzle to create a playable board game. I mean, there's plenty of puzzles where they use board game imagery, but are there any others where you play right on the jigsaw puzzle? I couldn't think of any others. If any of you can think of any, please let me know down in the comments. And speaking of the comments, let me know if you think Monopoly is a good game or not, and if you play exactly by the rules, or if you have some house rules. Your code word for the comments will be 3D. And then if you want to see more Puzz3Ds, I have an entire video about my sister's entire Puzz3D collection. And we also did a video where we're solving the Puzz3D lamps. So I'll link those down below, and I'll see you guys next time.